Jesus. Hey everyone, it's Alexa. Welcome back to my channel. Thanks for sticking around Vlogmas. I gave up a little. Now I know what to do for next year so that I'll upload consistently. 2024 is gonna be a good year. I can feel it. I'm manifesting it for myself. Before the year starts, I thought it would be fun to wrap up my favorite books of the year. No worries if you don't like them. When I say a book is my favorite, I'm not telling you that it is like the next classic. I'm just saying I connected with these books and maybe you'll find something that you like in them and take a chance on them and read them too. So the first book I'll start with is Yellowface by R.F. Kuang. I was reading this starting October and I just didn't have the mental capacity for a lot of it. Sometimes the narrator would make me so irritated that I wouldn't want to keep reading, but I'm glad I finished this. So this follows Juniper and Athena, colleagues from college. Juniper is a white woman and Athena is an Asian woman. Athena becomes really famous after college, and when Athena dies, Juniper actually takes the unpublished, unseen manuscript of Athena's and she publishes it as her own. This book follows Juniper. As this book rises to fame, Juniper really tries to stick to this narrative that this book is hers and that she didn't steal it. And she goes through some really odd lengths to really stick to this narrative. If you're someone who loves reality TV, this is a book for you. If you love a book about a messy narrator, an unreliable narrator, this is the one for you. Anytime I tried to giggle about a plot point with a friend, it was just such a good discussion that we would have about Juniper's thoughts or the way that Juniper dealt with things. I think this is the most digestible work by R.F. Kuang. So I don't know how I'll feel about the Popuvore or Babel. I don't know if my brain can handle them, because sometimes my brain could not handle this. This was a great first taste of R.F. Kuang as an author. For someone who has a little brain like me, this was perfect. It's already famous, so if you didn't already know about it or you needed one more person to tell you about it, now you know. The first book I rated 5 stars of the year is Nora Goes Off Script. Nora Goes Off Script follows Nora, who is a rom-com screenwriter, and in the midst of her messy divorce, she actually writes a whole story about her and her husband's relationship. It gets picked up to turn into a film, and the person who plays her husband is one of Hollywood's hottest actors. And when the book is going on, you can tell that something's going on in Leo's life. Like, he's drinking heavily, he's a little messy, and once the shooting wraps, he actually asks to stay in Nora's guest house for the week. She says yes, and I really enjoyed it. It was a nice, calm read. It kind of felt like a literary fiction to me. Sometimes when I read romance, I fear that they make a lot of characters unrealistic, or they make a lot of things really action-packed, and there's something about this book that I mean in the nicest way possible just felt so normal. The characters felt real. Like, for a book that had such an outlandish premise, I think it was executed in a non-outlandish way. I think it felt really perfect to me. I literally ate up this audiobook in one day. Just something about the story, like, I view it with the most like rose-tinted glasses. I'm like, this is such a good story. I love this, and it did everything I needed it to do. Another book that I read this year that I really enjoyed was I Kissed Shara Wheeler. This is another book I read on audiobook. I read a lot of audiobooks this year. I listened to them at like 1.75 speed. I just like go on my commute, I go about my day, I play mini motorways, and I have a great time. So I Kissed Shara Wheeler feels like if Paper Towns was more modern and more gay. So this book follows Chloe Green and Shara Wheeler, who are academic rivals. The night before prom, Shara Wheeler ends up kissing Chloe, but then the next day mysteriously vanishes. As Chloe looks for answers, she learns that Shara Wheeler not only kissed Chloe, she also left behind her current boyfriend, who's like the quarterback of the football team, and then she also kissed her bad boy next door neighbor. They realize that Shara leaves all of them different clues, and they're supposed to go on this hunt around town. It's a fun little mystery. It's very fast paced, and there's unexpected friendship that comes with the 3 characters that are all tied together by this one person. Seeing this very unlikely friend group form, I think, is part of the charm of the book. Watching Chloe and Shara's relationship play out is also really interesting as well. Yeah, if you want a fun YA novel and you're really nostalgic about having a John Green era, I think this is a great book for you to dive into. This next book you should see coming if you watch my October reads, but you know that I read Beach Read again for the 3rd time, and this year it is officially a favorite book of mine. If Emily Henry has 1,000 fans, I am one. If she has no fans, I am dead. Beach Read follows January and Gus, these 2 college rivals. They run into each other as January moves into her late father's beach house, and they end up being neighbors, and they're actually both having writer's block, so they challenge each other to write in each other's styles, and the first person to finish a book and publish it and be the most successful ends up winning the bet. They actually help each other out a little bit. Every weekend they go on little writer dates. Emily Henry just just knows how to write good banter. I love their dialogue. There's nothing better than a solid book boyfriend, and Augustus Everett is on my list of best book boyfriends. Maybe I should make that a video, my book boyfriends. I don't know if I need to say anything more about this. This is a really old favorite. It's a classic in the booktube world, so if you need good dialogue, if you need a good, not enemies to lovers, but if you need a good grumpy sunshine-ish, opposites attract-ish, angsty book, this is super good. So the next book I read was You Again by Kate Goldbeck. It's basically a gender-bent modern retelling of When Harry Met Sally. I love this book because it's really messy. It actually takes place over many years and not just something that falls into place right away, which is something that I really liked as well. Sometimes when stories take place within like a 2-month block or something like that, it feels really hard for me to be convinced that they're into each other. Seeing these people cross paths over multiple years and seeing that relationship evolve to what it finally becomes in the end, I really enjoyed, and I think the author did a really good job at taking a really well-known rom-com and making it their own. If you want something messy and nasty and a little angsty, this is a book for you, and it ends up turning into a fluffy rom-com at the end. So yeah, the next book that I really liked, I honestly don't know why. It could be a mix of me being on my period, really needing something that was like light and easy, getting really excited about downloading Kindle Unlimited, but I ended up reading The Night Shift by Annie Crown, and I really liked it. It isn't something that I would normally go for, but there's something about the cover that was so visually appealing to me. So The Night Shift follows a girl who works the night shift of the library and the captain of the basketball team. The girl's name is Kendall, and Kendall is someone who keeps her head stuck in a book, doesn't like parties, isn't really into socializing, dating scares her, and to her, Vincent is this more like playboy, really experienced and flirty guy. One of the nights, Kendall is working at the library and Vincent isn't partying because he just broke his arm, so he goes to the library to finish his essay. They meet, they butt heads, and immediately they fall for each other. It is insta-love, and that is something that I wouldn't think I was interested in. There's something about Vincent that is just so sweet that I just wanted to keep reading. Vincent's another book boyfriend. Maybe I should do a video on book boyfriends. But yeah, there's something about Vincent that was just so sweet, and he's just so caring. I got so into this book that daylight savings passed and gave me an extra hour in the day, and I spent it reading this book. I didn't even realize that daylight savings hit. What I really liked about this book was how fast-paced it was. It was just so funny because I literally just said I don't usually like when books take place in really short stories. I don't think I would have liked any of the things in it if you told me what the book was about. It was like insta-love, really short time frame, innocent girl versus experienced boy, but it just hit. This is a Wattpad book. If you're going to this book wanting a fleshed out plot or characters, like this is smut. This is smut through and through. It literally has the W Wattpad in the corner. If you want a Wattpad book, this is one I would go for. The next book that I read, I actually finished today. I read it on audiobook. Again, 1.75 speed, playing mini motorways, cleaning my room. I didn't think I'd like it, but I see Haley Pham raving about this book all the time, and I was like, what could be so good about this book? Because I started the dead something. The one about the dead people. But yeah, I always heard that this was a better book than the other one that I was reading. So I was really intrigued by it, so I picked it up. So it's about Clementine, whose aunt tragically just passed away, and she's still coping with the grief of losing this really important person to her. Clementine is now the owner of her aunt's apartment, and when she's in this apartment, she quickly realizes that the apartment can travel back in time randomly to a day 7 years prior. And you sort of see what happens to them as they impact each other's lives, and you see how this connection follows them throughout the next couple months of her living in this apartment. I think if you're a fan of Emily Henry, it's very similar to that, but I do think it's slightly fluffier, like the tiniest bit fluffier than a regular Emily Henry novel would be, but nonetheless, I really enjoyed it. I think that Ewan is the sweetest boyfriend. There's something so charming about Ewan, another book boyfriend. There's something about it that is just so wholesome and so fulfilling. Similar to like the Nora Goes Off script book, there's something about it that feels really peaceful and calming. I had like a whole grin on my face at like random parts of the book when I was listening to it. The last book that I enjoyed this year was something I didn't think I would like. The cover always intrigued me. I thought it was really beautiful. I didn't think I'd like a cowboy romance, but I read Done and Dusted by Lila Sage, and I really enjoyed it. It was really easy to read. It was really lighthearted. Wait, give me 1 second. I think this girl's name is also Clementine. Oh, that's so funny. So Clementine is a professional like horse racer. They call her Emmy. She is recovering from an injury, and she's taking time off of racing, and she's having a hard time getting back on the horse, like literally. She's traumatized. She goes back home to her family, and while she's back home, her and her brother's best friend start creating this bond as he helps her get over her fear of horse riding. I think there's something so sweet about Clementine's family. I want to be adopted by their family. There's nothing I love more more than a brother's best friend trope. Kind of gives Hallmark movie, but in like the best way. It's not a closed door romance when I say that. I really liked it. Yeehaw! I'm so excited for the next book. But yeah, those are all my favorite books of the year. I don't think I had a lot to say about them. I'll write notes next time. Just thinking about them puts a big smile on my face. They're so cute, so good. I can't wait to add them to my collection when I have money. I am quite an airhead reader. If there's one thing about me when I read, my disbelief suspended. At the end of the day, compared to your average like book reviewer, I'm pretty easy to please. So, hope you enjoyed. If you didn't like these books, it's fine. Just be nice to me. I'm just a girl. And I'll see you all in the next one. And I hope you have a great 2024 as I want to have a great 2024. So, yeah. See you next time.